Hey, it's Debbie Potts, and I want to share something I am working on for a webinar I'm creating, how to improve your metabolism as you age. I've been going down so many rabbit holes because I'm curious about things. You have to stop and question, how does that work? And we also have to look at, is that what I need? Is that what's going on with my body? How do I want to age? What are my missing ingredients? What do I need to supplement with? What do I need to do so I can thrive as I age? How to avoid weight gain? How to get stronger? How to get faster? All these things I am personally working on to improve how I age, being fit and healthy from the inside out. I have been working on creating metabolic harmony for my own self. It is an N equals one journey. We don't know the needs of your body, your imbalances, dysfunctions. What do you need to bring your body into homeostasis, balance? So, testing and not guessing is what I like to look at. Now, if we look at the word metabolic harmony, what does that mean? Creating metabolic harmony refers to achieving a balanced state where the body's metabolic processes function optimally, not normal. The lab results you get back from your doctor, everything's normal, is not healthy. It is not optimal. So if you are a health optimizer, you might be interested in creating metabolic harmony, supporting overall health, energy, and performance. Ooh, this is a slide I forgot to go fix. Aligning factors, what I call the holistic method: nutrition, exercise, sleep, stress management, movement throughout the day, digestion, gut health, mineral balancing, hydration, gratitude, play, laughter. All this is what I am talking about on the podcast and what I have a mission for on my social media. So, what are some key aspects of creating metabolic harmony? Let's overview some of the things, but remember, it depends. What do you need? So that's why I like to work with people individually as well as do group programs. But really, we are all unique and we have different imbalances. So we need to run functional lab tests when possible, if not, at least do a nutritional therapy assessment to see what are signs and symptoms and which parts of the body that might correlate to that we could bring up to optimal levels so we are functioning and creating metabolic harmony at the ideal rate, the ideal state our body wants to thrive as we age. So we want to look at nutrition, balancing our blood sugar, nutrient density, figuring out what macronutrient ratio is best for you, and addressing your area of opportunity that we can identify with our assessments. How is your metabolic response to food? Do we need to look at metabolic typing, precision nutrition, metabolism testing, food sensitivity testing? There's a lot we can do. And then hormones, insulin, cortisol, thyroid. And then my age, we're looking at testosterone, estrogen, progesterone, DHA, looking at balance. And hormonal regulation is really a part of metabolic harmony. All the hormones play with each other. So there's that Goldilocks effect for everything. And I'll do that in some separate videos. We need to manage stress, sleep, and recovery to optimize hormonal health. And working on being fit and healthy from the inside out at a cellular level is really focusing on energy and coming from the mitochondria is where we're producing the ATP, the energy currency of the body. So promoting fat oxidation, not just for endurance athletes, but for those looking to improve their metabolic health at rest and during low level of an exercise movement, we should be burning primarily fat as our main fuel source. And we can identify your metabolic health doing a resting metabolism test and an active metabolism test and see how well you are using fat as your main fuel source. Now, Key aspects we talk about: gut health, the microbiome, your butyrate. We can identify this in a stool test. And looking at your lifestyle habits. We can't out supplement poor lifestyle habits. We can't out exercise poor nutrition habits. We need to figure out what is our area of opportunity and pick one thing to work on at a time. As I always loved the quote from Dr. Oh my gosh, Tom O'Brien always says this in his books: create base hits to get a home run. Don't always just trying to do everything all at once to get a home run. Let's do one thing and then nail that down and then add on. So layer by layer. Because remember, we have bio individuality, recognizing that every person has a unique metabolic profile, your genetics, your age, your gender, your lifestyle, environmental factors. And we want to use things as the metabolism tests we use with PNOE, functional lab testing, genetics to really help create a plan for you. So the benefits: increased energy, reduced fatigue, better body composition by increasing your lean body mass, gaining muscle health, and that will help us lose fat, not focusing on weight loss, but focusing on getting stronger, getting more muscle. It's more active tissue. Brain health. I'm really focused on this show to explain with guest experts how we can take ownership of our health today, our future self, by ideally avoiding cognitive decline. How can we work on mental health, clarity, brain fog, all that memory issues, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's? What can we do today to improve our cognitive health? And then chronic diseases, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, what can we do? So benefits of creating metabolic harmony now in middle age is really important for how you are in your future self. So metabolic harmony is ideal for those want sustainable weight management or body recomposition, peak performance and recovery from those workouts, solutions to stubborn health challenges as hormone imbalances, or if you're struggling with what I had, chronic fatigue, and looking at a personalized holistic approach to aging vibrantly. So we want to enhance metabolic harmony. I'm going to just really briefly run through the vagal tone. Listen to my video and webinar I did on metabolic harmony with Amy of Nuvana Life, their Zen product, a vagal nerve stimulator, and Rhonda Collier of Sweetwater Health, talking about heart rate variability. And we are actually doing a 30-day program right now. And then how that ties into metabolism testing as we use with PNOE to create this comprehensive approach to achieve metabolic harmony. So just to look at the difference of rest and digest, parasympathetic nervous system versus fight or flight. We need to be able to shift sympathetic when we need to respond quickly, and then recovery back into parasympathetic. What happens when we're always on overdrive, some of us get stuck over here in sympathetic. We call that sympathetic dominance. One thing we'll talk about in some other videos: cranial nerve, this nerve here, the vagal nerve. What is it connected to? It slows the heartbeat, constricts airways, stimulates activity of the stomach, inhibits release of glucose, stimulates gallbladder, stimulate activity of the intestines. What happens if we're in sympathetic? Increased heartbeat, relaxed airways, inhibits activity of stomach, stimulates release of glucose. So if you're always in sympathetic, you keep activating, stimulating release of glucose. You inhibit the gallbladder. So if you have gallbladder bile issues, what's the vagal nerve? Are you connected? Is there a strong vagal tone we'll talk about? And if you are stuck in fight or flight, what happens when you are in sympathetic when you're eating? What happens to your digestive system? So that's what I've been working more on in some other videos. So going into a high vagal tone versus a low vagal tone. It refers to the activity of the vagus nerve and its ability to regulate the body's stress and recovery responses. The role of the vagal nerve, as we just showed you, connects the parasympathetic nervous system, regulating relaxation, recovery, and vital functions as heart rate, digestion, and inflammation. It connects the brain to key organs, including the heart, lungs, gut, and immune system. So why don't we hear more about the vagal nerve? If it's functioning, the heart, the lungs, if we have poor vagal nerve, this is so essential to optimizing our health and creating metabolic harmony, starting with your wiring system of your body. I always think of it as moving into a house and not have the electrical system and the plumbing all working correctly when you move in. You want to have this set up and keep strengthening and making sure all the wires are connected. So the vagal nerve functions, again, the parasympathetic, and really important with inflammation modulation, mood and mental health, and homeostasis, heart rate, digestion, respiration. So the vagus nerve extensive network influences nearly every major system in the body, making its health and function critical for overall well-being. So why are we not focusing on strengthening this vagus nerve and tracking how strong is our vagus nerve? Do we have high vagal tone? If these key body functions are all involved, I really focus now, shifting my mindset after learning more in this area, we really need to focus on this part first. So looking at parasympathetic versus sympathetic, this homeostasis balance, this is from, I think I got this from Paul Chek, the Chek Institute, a holistic lifestyle coach certification program I did. Parasympathetic, activity dominance, or sympathetic. We need to shift. So benefits of enhancing vagal nerve, listen to my other webinars on the YouTube channel. And then again from Paul Chek, suppressed repair hormones, melatonin, human growth hormone, DHA, testosterone, estrogen, blood sugar imbalances, your insulin levels, if we have this imbalance. So we want to make sure the Goldilocks effect, not too much stress. Acute stress is what we're looking at. So you can measure your vagal tone with heart rate variability. You can measure it with devices, these wearables, but it's not that accurate. We want to get more of a chest strap, as heart rate variability is better measured that way. So listen to my seminars. I won't spend any more time on here, but I'm just going to hop through the rest of these slides and let me know if you want to learn more. Okay, so about testing and not guessing your metabolism to create metabolic harmony, we want to look at a resting metabolism test and then your exercise test. And I really focus and stress the importance. Don't just focus on metabolism testing for athletic performance and those who want to know their VO2 max. We get so much more information in these tests on your metabolism and your breathing. It's a breath analysis. You have a mask on and it's measuring your oxygen in as this picture and your carbon dioxide out. We're analyzing the air, getting all sorts of different data points. What fuel source are you using at rest and at various intensities? Are you metabolically healthy? And correlate this with our other intake forms and labs. So let's go into metabolism. What even does it mean? We'll go into that. But why does it matter? Why should you know? We want to prevent this metabolic slowdown. We hear our metabolism slows down, but I really believe we can counteract this normal part of aging to be optimal because our metabolism naturally decreases as age, mainly due to loss of lean body mass, sarcopenia, and hormonal shifts, lower thyroid, reduced growth hormone. We can do something about that. Optimize nutrition and exercise, knowing your exact calorie needs. Remember, it's not 100% accurate, any test, but looking at how many calories you need is what we can identify in metabolism tests to make sure we are eating enough to create muscle protein synthesis to create more muscle and avoid overeating and making sure we're getting enough of the nutrients you need. Now, if your resting metabolic rate, RMR, is lower than expected, this can give us clues to metabolic adaptation, chronic stress, poor or low muscle mass. We can work on all this, but we don't know what we don't know. So we really want to test to figure out what areas of opportunity do you have instead of this one size fits all approach. Now we can collect the data to figure out what do you need to do, if it's fat loss, muscle gain, or is it athletic performance, or it's just you want to be motivated to be your best self in the future and live a long, quality, happy life. We can figure out a personalized program so you can age gracefully, age with muscle strength, with vitality. So we want to use this data to figure out, are you burning more carbs or fat at rest? Figure out your nutrition, macronutrient adjustments for muscle preservation. If your metabolism is slowing, especially if you're on GLP-1, we want to really adjust your protein intake and adjust your workout program to add more strength training to prevent muscle breakdown. So we want to look at a holistic approach, make sure we're giving bioindividuality and working and course correcting as we go. So definitions, metabolism, metabolic health is the optimal functioning of the body's energy systems, including blood sugar regulation, insulin sensitivity, lipid, or also called fat metabolism, mitochondria efficiency, stable energy levels, balanced hormones, and the body's ability to efficiently switch and use the different fuel sources without metabolic dysfunction. That's what we're striving for with metabolic health. Now, metabolic flexibility, as it sounds, is the ability of the body to efficiently switch between fuel sources, carbohydrates, and fats between or based on your energy demands. So a metabolically flexible person can use stored fat for energy during fasting windows when you're not eating, say at nighttime while you're sleeping, or when you're doing low level activity as zone 1 and zone 2, where you're just walking, or maybe you're hiking or going for an easy swim. You should be burning fat and using carbohydrates for your higher intensity efforts without experiencing any blood sugar crashes or energy fluctuations. Then you would be insulin resistant potentially and metabolically inflexible. So metabolic efficiency, we talk about when we do testing, is the capacity to produce and to use energy efficiently with minimal metabolic waste and minimal oxidative stress. Metabolic efficiency when you're exercising is your ability to use fat as a primary fuel source at higher exercise intensity. So we move that metabolic efficiency point. Reducing your dependency on carbohydrates for fuel as an endurance athlete is really essential to performance and recovery. Metabolism is a sum of all biochemical reactions in the body that convert food into energy. Remember that ATP, we talk about this energy currency, regulate bodily functions, and support growth, repair, and maintenance. Metabolism is influenced by genetics, hormones, lifestyle factors as your nutrition, exercise, sleep, and stress management, the holistic method. And then we see here the word bioenergetics. What does that mean? It's a study of how cells produce, store, and use energy, primarily through mitochondria function. Bioenergetics focuses on creating energy, ATP, oxidative phosphorylation, and the role of metabolic pathways as glycolysis, which is using glucose, carbohydrates for fuel, beta oxidation using fatty acids, free fatty acids, break them down for fuel. And we do that in the Krebs cycle in maintaining cellular and systemic energy balance. So to optimize our bioenergetics, if we have optimized levels, we can improve endurance in life and sports, recovery from workouts, recovery from life, and overall metabolic health. So we want to test and not guess what you are doing at rest. How's your metabolism? How's your metabolic health? Let's look at the whole picture and figure out what are your areas of opportunity that we don't know unless we test, and identify here's what we need to bring to optimal. So Let's go into what speeds up your metabolism and how we can avoid this metabolic slowdown. So testing first, we just went over the terms, but testing, we identify your RER, respiratory exchange ratio. If that number is 0.7, that's high fat burning efficiency score. If your RER is closer to 1.0, so as it gets to 0.5, it's 50-50 fat to carbohydrates. If it gets to 1.0, more carb dependency. And then you can go higher than that. So you see the fuel source you're using at rest and during exercise. What slows down your metabolism? So a few things you can look at: chronic undereating, long-term calorie deficit, trigger metabolic adaptation. Body conserves energy by lowering your RMR. This is a survival mechanism to preserve energy during perceived starvation. So that could happen if you're just not eating enough. Your body's like, oh, I got to save up. I'm going to store this food like a bear in the wintertime because I'm not going to have food for a while. Reduction in activity level, and then loss of muscle mass, which we can control. So tips to speed up your metabolism. Number one is what I focus on first for most people. But as Dr. Gabrielle Lyon said, I just heard an interview with her again, and she always makes a good point that everyone eats, not everyone exercises. So let's start with what you're eating and focusing on that protein intake throughout the day. I was just on a bike ride yesterday, and we stopped for a coffee stop at this little natural food store, and these ladies were sitting behind me chatting, having lunch. And one lady was talking about how she doesn't eat much all day because she'll snack and eat the sugar candy, or she'll have these chips or something, just all empty calories. And she says she's not hungry, so she doesn't make a meal, but she's not getting any protein or any nutrients, really, just eating sugar processed foods. So I was thinking, well, Dr. Gabrielle Lyon's pretty accurate that most people, they eat, but they choose the wrong foods and look at the importance of protein and how low a protein intake people get. So looking at least 100 grams a day from animal-based protein diet is ideal. But really, it's fascinating to hear people talk and how their nutrition is not focused on avoiding muscle loss as we age. So here are some tips. Now let's look at what slows down metabolism. Other points are hydration, hormones, low thyroid, looking at that T4 and T3, free T3, free T4, insulin resistance, what's your insulin level, which your doctor's not usually testing. So this is kind of the functional labs we want to order through Dr. Jeff or other people that we can get to get the whole picture. So chronic stress increases cortisol, I've talked a lot about. This can promote muscle breakdown and fat storage, reducing metabolic efficiency. This is a big area for a lot of people. So this is why I like to do the personalized programs and figure out, okay, where your metabolism's slower than it should be, but why? What are you not doing? Here's what to speed it up, but what slows down your metabolism, and what are you doing that we need to focus on? Chronic stress, your sleep. Well, maybe we start with sleep, because if you don't get great sleep, well, that's going to cause more stress and the back and forth. So it's chronic stress and sleep dysfunction. Age, well, yeah, naturally decreasing our metabolism to age, but due to loss of lean mass and changes in hormones, reduced growth hormones, sex hormones, but we can do something about that. So what speeds up your metabolism? Physical activity, adequate nutrition intake, focusing on the protein, and mineral balancing. Hormones, balancing your thyroid, insulin sensitivity, growth hormones, testosterone. So talking to your doctor, testing your hormones, seeing where they are. Sauna. I just did a 45-minute sauna in our son Layton sauna. I did a protocol for the cardiovascular protocol that goes about a little hotter, and got a good sweat in, took my glutathione beforehand and took my activated charcoal afterwards. And then cold plunge pools can help increase brown fat, which is more active tissue and can help burn more calories, cold plunges, and stress management, sleep, all that. So, Pinoe testing is great. I do suggest Lumen for people. You can save, I think, 20% with my discount code. But that's a great way to do a breath test every day and just get an idea of what you are blowing out into this device to analyze your air, carbon dioxide to oxygen, figure out your fat to carb burn. So it gives a scale 1 to 5, similar to what we're testing on the respiratory exchange ratio. 0.7 is mostly fat. So that's a 1 on a lumen score. 5 on the lumen score is mostly carbohydrates, which is 1.0 RER on the Pinoe test and 0.85 RER on our metabolism test, as Pinoe will give you a 3 on a lumen. So it gives you kind of an idea. Now, we want to look at what we call metabolic chaos as FDN practitioners, identify those internal sources of chronic stress. Low beneficial bacteria, gut infections, leaky gut, endotoxins, high LPS levels, autoimmune, food sensitivities, all these things we don't really know about unless we can invest in some functional lab tests that sadly insurance doesn't cover it. Fuel your body with the right nutrition, and that might be different for you than for me. So we're going to look at what is the best nutrition program for you. And then testing insulin, different markers, your thyroid again, looking at your hormones, cortisol levels, breath work. What can you do to help your cortisol regulation, thyroid, insulin? Looking at root cause, looking at the gut health, how the gut health is a great picture from Nutrition with Judy. Judy's a nutritional therapist, works more of a carnivore, healing your gut with carnivore diet, but she has great, I love this infographic. Look at all these different diseases. These are symptoms. But why? This is what I love. Why do you have a migraine? Why do you have heart disease? Why do you have diabetes? What is a root cause? What is this correlated to, and how can we fix it? So disruption in your gut can impact metabolism. We want to look at your gut health. Do we need some good probiotics? So listen to my podcast. I've done 3 with Dr. William Davis of the Wheat Belly over his super gut yogurt and the Gut to Glow protocol. So we want to look at all this, what you are doing now, and what do we need to tweak? What do we need to adjust? What does your workout program look like? Do we need to look at it by the month, by the week, and figure out what's best for you? Meet you where you are on your journey. Look at your sleep schedule. What's your morning routine look like? What does your evening routine look like? What could you work on? Remember, base hits create a home run. And then cold thermogenesis. Do you need cold or do you need hot? And how much is too much? How much is too little? So cold exposure, there's benefits. You know, cold, hot shower, doing a sauna, I really suggest, is amazing to have, a good investment. And then getting a personalized approach, testing, and figure out how we can look at what's going on with your body. For athletes, we can figure out, are you eating too much, eating too little, getting the wrong foods? And how's your metabolism? Switching to lower carbs on your rest days, timing your carbohydrates around your workouts, and testing, why does it matter? Just summarize, looking at our hormones and how to adjust as we age. Not blame the aging process, but embrace it. So testing the metabolism test on a bike or treadmill, or we can use a rowing machine, whatever you normally do for your workouts. And we can collect data from that, figure out personalized program and set some goals up. What are your action items? Looking at what fuel you're burning at various intensity levels, help figure out if your goal is weight loss. We really want to focus on raising your metabolism, or do you need to improve your fat metabolism during exercise? Do you need to work on energy efficiency, metabolic flexibility? Do we need to improve your fat burning metabolism? Do we need to look at your insulin level? And this is a great chart from Lumen if you're eating too much processed foods and looking at how your body shifts to carb burning, which is great. But does it come back to burning fat? Are you switching back and forth? So if you are not able to metabolize that food. So metabolic testing, we look at that peak fat max, metabolic crossover point, figure out what your zones are. And do we have signs of, well, you're not as efficient as you could be? What can we do different? So what do you want to learn more about? Let me know to improve how you age. Being fit and healthy from the inside out is my goal. So being a health optimizer is really what I'm striving for personally. And if you're interested in working on improving your future self, let me know. And we can figure out what topics to go in next time to improve how you age. So you are not struggling as you get older, but thriving. So that's my focus. Let me know your questions, what you want me to dive into more on our next video, and talk more about how you as an individual can improve the whole you from the inside out. Thanks for listening and learning about your health optimization program.